Salena Zito is in Yinzerland. Special Yinzer report. Salena, good morning to you. How are you?
Oh, good morning, sunshine. I'm awesome. How are you?
I am great. Dave McCormick is your senator elect. I want you to tell us, what is Bob Casey doing, and does it have a prayer of working?
No, it doesn't have a prayer of working. He's allowed the McCormick fell just slightly short of the 0.5% trigger by a couple thousand, not by a couple thousand, by a couple hundred. And Casey is allowing that trigger to go into effect. He could have stopped it, but he didn't. And the result's going to be the same. And there's it's a really sad way for him to exit, having held statewide office since 1996. And you know you, this is basically the only job he's ever had, and that's in elected office. And sometimes these guys really really have a hard time letting go. The only other thing it could be is someone either in his family or on his staff is pushing him to do this. But the Democrats that I talked to all across the state, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, people that have been his allies and his friends, are just wishing that he was not doing this. This is
There is
leaving
this
with
stuff
grace.
about there's this stuff about ballots being challenged, or Casey trying to get illegal ballots in, and the McCormick lawyers stopping it. Kind of like a
Yeah,
knife fight,
that's
precinct by precinct. But it's 28,000. I said this after the Trump loss in 2020. If your margin is more than 1,000 in a recount, you can't reverse it. I've studied. I wrote a book about election fraud in 2004. If you're not within 1,000 votes, you don't have a prayer.
that's true. And there was another governor. He wasn't governor then. He became governor 2 years later of Pennsylvania. Ed Rendell sort of got tired of Al Gore dragging out the election and went public. He was the DNC chair at that time and said, "Hey, you know what? It's time to concede." And someone needs to be Ed Rendell in this moment and step up and say what everybody is saying to themselves.
All right. Let me move to Ohio, because you cover my home state as well as anybody, because Yinzerland is close up to the border there. Mike DeWine has a choice. I have seen all the names: Matt LaRose, Matt Dolan, Dave Yost, Jane Timken. What do you think he is thinking? What do you think he will do to replace J.D. Vance in the United States Senate?
I think it's Rhodes. Um, you know, I just think it's a good fit for him and a good fit for Ohio. I think that Yost is more suited based on comportment and his abilities to run for governor. And so that's the way I think it goes. What do you think? I
They
don't
got
know.
to
What do
run
you
Frank
think?
LaRose or whoever. They got to run in 2026, and then they have to run in
Yeah.
2028. So you got to
Yeah.
be able to raise a lot of money, and you want to have to be able to nonstop for 4 years. John Thune did this back in 2000 and
Yeah.
2002, and Dave McCormick did it. And it's
Yeah.
three races in 4 years, and it's just that you just have to really want to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's every night on the road. You know what it's like, Selena.
Oh yeah, I covered soon. I covered that election and those consequent, those elections after that. But also Joe Manchin did this. And you do have to be dedicated, and you do really want to uh do this job and be good at this job. And I think all of those people have proven that they have been. So you have to, when you're thinking about this, you have to look at them and talk to them and ask them, how did this go? What did what were your experiences like? How did you get through it? How were you able to govern, but also run, but also raise money?
Selena, I have a question for you. Um, have you ever met Terry Pluto, the senior sports writer in Ohio? He works for Cleveland.com. He does the podcast, Terry's Talking. He's our age. He does a lot of prison ministry. He's a great man, a great writer. He and Dave Campbell do this podcast every week. And it just seems to me that the two of you are like the smartest people about Ohio and Pennsylvania. Have you ever met him?
No, I haven't, but I'm a huge fan. So if you can make that happen, that would be awesome.
I think you ought to go up and do a column on a guy who has devoted his life to Northeastern Ohio sports fans,
Yeah.
and he does prison ministry. He's just a wonderful guy. It just occurred
Yeah.
to me. Now let's get to those are two of my friends, my radio friends. I would like to meet and hear what you guys say to each other. Now let's talk about the downs. Everything was going great, and I did
Yeah.
Fox and News with
I
Dana
watched you.
Perino and Bill Hemmer in the morning. Everything was going great. I get home yesterday afternoon. Dennis Prager has had a serious injury. That's terrible. And we're praying for him. And then President-elect Trump announces Matt Gaetz. I do not believe he will be confirmed. What do you think?
No, I don't either. And don't make me say anything because my mom always taught me if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
But we're in the business, Salena. We're
Oh,
in the bit.
darn it. I
What?
knew you were going to make me. I knew you were going to make me say something. I'd like to believe this is like some fourth level chess move that he's making, and maybe it is, but that I do not believe that he's going to be confirmed. I do not believe that. Just by all the initial reactions out of the Senate. He's not a very well liked guy. And okay, maybe you don't have to be liked to be good at your job. He isn't a very well respected guy either. So there is lies the difference. And I would be. I mean, nothing shocks me in American politics. Maybe he's confirmed, but I got to say, I'd be shocked if he was confirmed. I would be
It's
shocked
interesting
if
about
he.
the 4D chess. I always laugh at people who talk about 4D chess, but I actually put it on X this morning because he did resign from the House in a vain attempt to make the House Ethics Committee irrelevant to his hearings because they get all the paperwork. But I don't know if you've ever been through a full field background investigation. I've done 3 of them. All of a sudden, your third grade teacher's getting a knock at the door, and everyone you've ever done
No.
work with. And this is what the FBI does well, is that they vet people. Obviously, they didn't vet the CIA guy who stole all the secrets of Israel and put them on the web, but they vet most people very, very well, especially the attorney general. And they're going to have it's going to be a long FBI investigation. And I don't think the recess appointment's going to help because I don't think the Senate's going to go out of session for like 2 months.
Yeah, I maybe it is fourth. I mean, come on, we've lived through McConnell. He is the master at fourth level chess maneuvers. So maybe Trump learned a thing or two from him, or maybe he learned a thing or two from Trump. But I just can't see it happening that he passes the confirmation process. Or I'll even
Last
go
question,
further.
Selena.
I don't think yet.
Go ahead.
No, I don't even know if it gets to that part to gets there.
Nah, it's going to be Harriet Myers, and Harriet Myers was qualified.
Yeah.
And I was for Harriet Myers, and I'm actually curious about what happens with Tulsi Gabbard. I'm not saying no. I don't. She might get through. I just know that a lot of senators were just elected. And I'll name 4. Uh, Governor Justice of West Virginia, Tim Sheehy in Montana, Dave McCormick in Pennsylvania, and Bernie Moreno in Ohio. They are going to be up for reelection after Donald Trump has retired. And
Yeah.
what they do on Congressman Gaetz will matter in their reelection campaign. And it's a gift to the Democrats for getting off the ground and getting reorganized. I just don't see it happening. Now, let's talk about our favorite. Who's your favorite nominee? Because he was batting 1,000 until yesterday.
Who's my favorite nominee? Well, Marco Rubio. I've always been a big fan of Rubio. He came. I remember covering him in 2010. I think it was when he ran against Charlie. Was it Charlie Crist at that
Yep.
moment for? And I just he had the conservative populism that has now become the mainstay of the Republican Party, but he also had the chops in terms of his knowledge and abilities in foreign relations, and so I think he's an excellent pick.
Salena Zito, it is always good to talk to you. Follow Salena Zito on X at Zito Salena.